In the distant future, Earth's first contact with extraterrestrial life was far from peaceful. The Zorathians, a warrior race from the far reaches of the galaxy, had invaded with advanced technology and sheer brute force. Humanity fought back with everything it had, but the struggle seemed hopeless until a man named Kane rose to the challenge. Jonathan was an ordinary soldier turned hero by circumstance. Leading the final assault against the Zorathian mothership, he managed to defeat their leader, Supreme Warlord Vrax, in a dramatic hand-to-hand battle that was broadcast across the galaxy. With Vrax's fall, the Zorathian invasion crumbled, and Earth was saved. However, victory came with unforeseen consequences. As the dust settled, Zorathian representatives approached Jonathan with a legal matter. According to ancient Zorathian customs, by defeating Vrax, Jonathan had not only earned their respect but had also inherited all of Vrax's responsibilities. Chief among them, his family. This meant Jonathan was now obligated by Zorathian law to take Vrax's 3 wives as his own. Confused and overwhelmed, Jonathan initially refused. The idea was preposterous to him. He had fought to protect Earth, not to get tangled in an alien culture's strange customs. However, the Zorathians were adamant. The treaty they proposed, a pact that would ensure lasting peace and cooperation between Earth and Zorathia, hinged on Jonathan's acceptance of this new role. The Earth's leaders urged him to comply, seeing the treaty as an opportunity to safeguard the planet's future. Reluctantly, Jonathan agreed, understanding that his personal discomfort was a small price to pay for the greater good. Jonathan was soon introduced to the 3 Zorathian women: Liora, a fierce warrior with a sharp intellect; Zira, a skilled healer with a gentle demeanor; and Vesha, a scientist whose brilliance rivaled that of any human mind. Each brought a unique strength and perspective, and despite the awkwardness of their initial meetings, they were as bound by their customs as Jonathan was by his duty. The transition was far from smooth. Jonathan struggled with the cultural differences and the weight of his new responsibilities. The Zorathian wives, too, were adjusting to a new life on Earth, far from their home and the society they once knew. Over time, mutual respect began to grow. Jonathan found himself admiring Liora's unwavering resolve, learning from Zira's compassionate nature, and engaging in deep discussions with Vesha about science and the universe. Slowly, the forced partnership evolved into something more meaningful. As months passed, Earth and Zorathia forged stronger bonds. The treaty brought technological advancements, cultural exchanges, and a newfound understanding between the 2 species. Jonathan's role as a bridge between worlds became more than symbolic. It was vital to the peace and prosperity of both societies. Yet, beneath the surface of this diplomatic success, tensions simmered. Not all Zorathians accepted the peace, and factions within their society sought to undermine the treaty. Jonathan and his new family found themselves targeted by conspiracies and attacks, testing their unity and resolve. One fateful night, an assassination attempt nearly took Jonathan's life. It was only through the combined efforts of Liora's combat skills, Zira's medical expertise, and Vesha's quick thinking that he survived. This harrowing experience solidified their bond, as they realized that together, they were stronger than any adversary. The assassination attempt revealed a deeper plot to reignite the war between Earth and Zorathia. Jonathan, his wives, and a select group of allies embarked on a dangerous mission to root out the instigators and secure the peace once and for all. Their journey took them across planets, through treacherous terrain, and into the heart of Zorathian politics. They uncovered secrets that threatened to unravel the delicate alliance and faced enemies who would stop at nothing to achieve their goals. As they navigated these challenges, Jonathan and his wives grew closer, their partnership evolving into a genuine family forged through adversity and mutual respect. They learned to appreciate each other's strengths and weaknesses, finding a balance that allowed them to overcome obstacles that would have been insurmountable alone. In the end, their mission was successful. The conspirators were exposed, and the fragile peace was strengthened. Jonathan and his wives returned to Earth, not just as symbols of intergalactic unity but as leaders in their own right, committed to a future where both humans and Zorathians could thrive together. The story of Jonathan Kane and his Zorathian wives became a legend, a testament to the power of understanding, cooperation, and the unbreakable bonds that can form even in the most unlikely of circumstances. Their journey was a reminder that sometimes the greatest victories come not from war, but from the willingness to embrace the unknown and find common ground amidst the stars. Life after the mission returned to a semblance of normalcy, though for Jonathan Kane, normal had taken on an entirely new meaning. The Earth he had fought to protect now thrived under the influence of Zorathian advancements. Cities were lit by Zorathian energy sources, diseases were cured with their medical technology, and space travel was becoming commonplace. Yet, even as the world evolved, Jonathan's life remained at the intersection of two civilizations. The bond between Jonathan and his three wives deepened with each passing day. Liora, ever the warrior, took on a role training Earth soldiers in Zorathian combat techniques. Her leadership and discipline earned her the respect of Earth's military forces, and she found purpose in shaping a new generation of defenders. Zira, whose gentle nature contrasted with Liora's fierceness, dedicated herself to humanitarian efforts. Her healing abilities, enhanced by Zorathian knowledge, revolutionized Earth's medical practices. Zira founded clinics and trained Earth doctors, blending the best of both worlds to save lives and alleviate suffering. Her work was a beacon of hope, symbolizing the peace Jonathan had fought to achieve. Vesha, the brilliant scientist, became a bridge for scientific collaboration between Earth and Zorathia. She led joint research initiatives, uncovering secrets of the universe that neither species could have discovered alone. Her passion for knowledge and her drive to innovate inspired many, fostering a culture of curiosity and exploration. Despite their public roles, their private life was filled with challenges and growth. The four of them learned to navigate their unique dynamics, each finding a place in their unconventional family. They celebrated victories together, comforted each other in times of doubt, and built a home that reflected the merging of their cultures. Jonathan, no longer just a soldier, found himself in the role of diplomat, strategist, and family man. His days were filled with negotiations and planning, but his evenings were reserved for the simple joys of family life. Meals shared around a table, stories exchanged from different worlds, and dreams of a future that now seemed brighter. But peace is never absolute, and the echoes of war lingered in the shadows. A new threat began to emerge, subtle and insidious. It wasn't a direct invasion or a visible enemy, but a growing discontent among factions on both Earth and Zorathia. On Earth, there were those who resented the Zorathian presence, viewing them as occupiers rather than allies. On Zorathia, some saw the treaty as a surrender, a stain on their warrior pride. This undercurrent of tension manifested in protests, sabotage, and political maneuvering. Jonathan and his family were once again at the center of it, symbols of the peace that many wanted to tear apart. They faced smear campaigns, accusations of betrayal, and attempts to destabilize the alliance. Jonathan's resolve was tested as he had to balance his duties to Earth and his family while confronting the rising tide of dissent. He relied heavily on the strengths of his wives. Liora helped him understand the Zorathian mindset, guiding him in diplomacy with the warrior factions. Zira's empathy allowed her to connect with the people, easing fears and building trust. Vesha's analytical mind uncovered hidden plots and technological threats. Their unity became their greatest weapon, a testament to what could be achieved through collaboration and love. Together, they organized forums, led initiatives to address grievances, and worked tirelessly to maintain the peace they had fought so hard to secure. In a pivotal moment, Jonathan proposed a grand summit, a gathering of leaders and citizens from both Earth and Zorathia. The goal was to create an open dialogue, to listen, to understand, and to find common ground. It was a risky move, one that could either mend the fractures or widen them beyond repair. The summit was a tense affair, with passionate speeches and heated debates. Jonathan and his wives stood as mediators, guiding the discussions with patience and wisdom. Slowly, the walls of mistrust began to crumble. Stories were shared, fears were addressed, and a collective vision of a shared future began to take shape. It wasn't easy, and there were moments when it seemed the summit would fail. But in the end, the persistence of Jonathan, Liora, Zira, and Vesha paid off. The summit concluded with renewed commitments from both sides, agreements that respected the traditions of Zorathia while embracing the innovations of Earth. As the summit ended, Jonathan stood before the gathered crowd, his voice steady but filled with emotion. He spoke of the journey they had all taken, the battles fought, and the bridges built. He reminded them that peace was a constant effort, a choice made every day. And with the support of his family, he believed they could continue to make that choice. The applause that followed was not just for the speech, but for the symbol that Jonathan Kane and his wives had become, a symbol of unity, resilience, and the belief that even the most formidable barriers could be overcome when people chose to stand together. Their story, once a legend of war and obligation, had transformed into a tale of love, partnership, and the boundless possibilities of peace. And as they looked out over a crowd filled with both human and Zorathian faces, Jonathan knew that the journey was far from over, but for the first time, it felt like they were truly walking the path together. In the months following the summit, the fragile peace between Earth and Zorathia blossomed into something more robust. The treaty was no longer just words on paper but a living, breathing relationship between two civilizations. The collaboration deepened, resulting in a wave of cultural and technological exchanges that enriched both worlds. Jonathan Kane found himself at the center of this new era, not just as a diplomat but as a beacon of what cooperation could achieve. His daily life was a whirlwind of meetings, decisions, and diplomatic missions, but he never lost sight of what anchored him, his family. The bond between Jonathan, Liora, Zira, and Vesha grew stronger with every challenge they overcame together. Each brought a unique strength to their family, and their love became a model of unity for both species. Their home, a blend of Zorathian architecture and Earth's warmth, became a sanctuary for many seeking guidance and inspiration. Liora, ever the warrior, began establishing a joint defense academy where humans and Zorathians trained side by side. It was a bold move, fostering trust between two species that had once been at war. The academy became a symbol of the new alliance, producing a new generation of protectors who valued cooperation over conflict. Zira's work in medicine expanded globally. Her clinics flourished, and she spearheaded research into curing diseases that had plagued humanity for centuries. Her compassion and skill earned her the nickname, the Healer of Two Worlds, and her influence in medical circles was unparalleled. Vesha's scientific ventures pushed the boundaries of what both Earth and Zorathia thought possible. She led missions to explore the far reaches of the galaxy, unlocking secrets that had eluded both species. Her work inspired a renaissance of curiosity and innovation, setting a foundation for future generations to build upon. Despite their successes, there were still undercurrents of resistance. On both planets, small factions continued to agitate against the alliance. Jonathan and his family were well aware that peace required vigilance. The memories of past conflicts served as a reminder that unity was a constant effort, not a permanent state. One evening, as the family gathered around a table laden with both Earth and Zorathian delicacies, a messenger arrived with urgent news. A rogue faction of Zorathian extremists had taken hostages on a distant colony, demanding the dissolution of the treaty. The situation was delicate, a test of the alliance's resolve. Jonathan knew he couldn't face this challenge alone. Liora's combat expertise, Zira's empathy, and Vesha's intellect were all essential in crafting a response that would save lives and preserve the fragile peace. Together, they devised a plan that blended diplomacy with decisive action. The mission was swift and precise. Liora led a team to secure the hostages, using her knowledge of Zorathian tactics to outmaneuver the extremists. Zira worked alongside the rescue team, providing medical care and reassurance to those in need. Vesha, from a command center, coordinated the technological aspects, ensuring the success of their operation with her strategic brilliance. In the end, the hostages were saved, and the rogue faction was disbanded. The mission was a testament to what their combined strengths could achieve. It sent a powerful message to both Earth and Zorathia. The alliance was resilient, and no force could break it as long as they stood united. The aftermath of the crisis brought Jonathan and his family closer than ever. They had faced yet another trial and emerged victorious, their bond unshaken. The experience reinforced their belief in the cause they championed, a future where differences were celebrated and collaboration was the key to survival and prosperity. As they stood beneath the stars that night, Jonathan looked at Liora, Zira, and Vesha, his heart swelling with pride and love. Their journey had been far from ordinary, filled with twists, challenges, and unexpected turns. But together, they had built something extraordinary, a family that transcended planets, cultures, and even species. The days following their success on the distant colony were filled with a newfound sense of optimism. Earth and Zorathia had witnessed, yet again, the strength of their alliance through the actions of Jonathan and his family. The rogue factions that sought to disrupt the peace were dwindling, their influence eroded by the growing unity between the two worlds. However, Jonathan Kane knew that complacency was the enemy of progress. As the de facto ambassador of this intergalactic bond, he continued to work tirelessly. He traveled between Earth and Zorathia, addressing concerns, fostering understanding, and laying the groundwork for joint initiatives that would benefit both civilizations. Liora, Zira, and Vesha continued to excel in their respective roles, their achievements becoming cornerstones of the Alliance's success. Liora's Defense Academy graduated its first class of Earth-Zorathian soldiers, a proud moment that signified the tangible fruits of their labor. Zira's clinics expanded into more remote areas, reaching those who had never before had access to advanced medical care. Vesha's explorations yielded not just scientific breakthroughs but also the discovery of ancient relics that hinted at a shared history between the two species, long before the war. Yet, amid their public lives and duties, their personal bond deepened in quieter moments. Jonathan often marveled at how they had grown from an arrangement of necessity into a true family, each of them finding strength and solace in the other. They shared stories of their pasts, dreams for the future, and the small, intimate joys that kept them grounded. One evening, as they sat in their garden, a lush space filled with both earth flora and exotic Zorathian plants, Jonathan noticed a distant look in Vesha's eyes. She had been working on a project that had consumed her attention, and though she hadn't spoken much about it, Jonathan knew it was significant. "Vesha," he said gently, breaking the peaceful silence. "What's on your mind?" Vesha looked up, her eyes filled with both excitement and a hint of uncertainty. "I've been working on something. Something that could change everything we know about our past. It's a theory I've been developing, but I need your support to take it further." Jonathan leaned forward, intrigued. "You have my support. Tell us." Vesha took a deep breath, glancing at Liora and Zira before continuing. "In my studies of the ancient relics we found during the explorations, I've uncovered patterns, similarities between Earth's ancient civilizations and Zorathian history. I believe there might have been contact between our worlds long before the war. If we can prove this, it could reshape our understanding of our shared history and strengthen the bond between our peoples even more." The revelation sent a ripple through their small gathering. Liora's eyes narrowed in thought, considering the implications. Zira, ever the nurturer, immediately saw the potential for healing old wounds through this discovery. Jonathan's mind raced with the possibilities. If we can confirm this, it would be a monumental discovery. "How do you propose we proceed?" Vesha's voice steadied, filled with conviction. "We need to undertake a joint expedition to the sites where these relics were found, delve deeper into both Zorathian and Earth archives, and perhaps even unlock ancient technologies that could lead us to more clues." The plan was ambitious, but Jonathan knew Vesha's brilliance was matched by her determination. They would need to coordinate with leaders on both planets, secure resources, and prepare for a journey that might span years. Yet, the potential rewards were too great to ignore. Over the next few weeks, Jonathan and his family worked tirelessly to garner support for Vesha's expedition. They presented their findings to councils, engaged scientists and historians from both worlds, and slowly built a coalition of experts eager to uncover the truth of their shared past. The expedition's announcement was met with excitement and curiosity. It symbolized a new chapter in the Earth-Zorathian alliance, one not just of survival, but of discovery and understanding. As preparations began, Jonathan couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of purpose. This journey was not just about uncovering the past. It was about forging a future where their bond would be unbreakable, rooted in a history that connected them in ways they were only beginning to understand. With Liora by his side for protection, Zira for care, and Vesha to lead the intellectual charge, Jonathan felt ready to embark on this new adventure. Together, they would venture into the unknown, not as warriors of separate worlds, but as explorers of a shared destiny, eager to unlock the secrets of the stars and strengthen the ties that bound their hearts and their civilizations. The launch of the expedition was a momentous occasion, marked by a ceremony that brought together leaders from Earth and Zorathia. The air buzzed with anticipation as Jonathan, Liora, Zira, and Vesha stood before the gathered crowd, their figures framed against the backdrop of a sleek, state-of-the-art starship. This vessel, a marvel of combined Earth and Zorathian technology, was christened Unity, a fitting name for the mission that lay ahead. As they boarded, Jonathan felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The journey they were about to undertake was unprecedented, a deep dive into the unknown that could redefine everything they knew about their origins. The stakes were high, but the potential to uncover a shared history offered hope for a stronger alliance. Once aboard, the Unity hummed to life, its engines propelling them toward the first of several ancient sites spread across distant planets. Each location had yielded artifacts that suggested an ancient connection, relics whose origins had puzzled historians for generations. The first destination was a planet known as Tarnos, a desolate world marked by crumbling ruins and mysterious inscriptions. As they descended, the sight of the towering structures, worn by time but still majestic, filled the team with awe. These ruins bore the hallmarks of both Zorathian and Earth-like architecture, a fusion that seemed impossible yet undeniable. Vesha, leading the research team, immediately set to work analyzing the site. Her keen eye and technological prowess allowed her to decipher symbols and unlock ancient chambers that had remained sealed for centuries. Jonathan, Liora, and Zira assisted where they could, their presence a source of strength and support. As they delved deeper, the team unearthed a series of murals that told a story, one of an ancient alliance between beings from Earth and Zorathia. The murals depicted scenes of cooperation, trade, and even intermarriage, suggesting that their two species had once worked together in harmony, long before the war had driven them apart. The discovery sent shockwaves through the expedition. If these murals were genuine, they would challenge the long-held beliefs on both worlds about their separate histories. It would mean that Earth and Zorathia had once been united, their fates intertwined in ways that had been forgotten. News of the findings spread quickly, reaching back to Earth and Zorathia where it sparked debates and excitement. Historians, politicians, and citizens alike were captivated by the idea that their ancestors might have shared a common past. The potential for renewed unity based on this shared history seemed within reach. However, not everyone was pleased with the revelations. The factions that opposed the alliance saw the discovery as a threat to their narratives. They feared that a shared past would solidify the bond between Earth and Zorathia, making their agendas harder to justify. Whispers of sabotage and dissent began to surface once more. Unfazed by the growing resistance, the expedition pressed on to the next site, a subterranean temple on the planet Myrak, known for its labyrinthine tunnels and ancient lore. This site was rumored to hold a powerful artifact that could provide definitive proof of the ancient alliance. The journey through Myrak's tunnels was perilous, with traps and collapsed passages testing the team's resolve. Liora's combat skills proved invaluable, her sharp instincts saving them from several deadly snares. Zira's calm demeanor kept the team focused, while Vesha's knowledge guided them ever closer to their goal. Deep within the heart of the temple, they found the artifact, a crystalline device, pulsing with a soft, otherworldly glow. Vesha's analysis confirmed its significance. The device was a repository of knowledge, containing records that could confirm the ancient alliance and perhaps even explain why it had been forgotten. As they prepared to extract the artifact, the team faced an unexpected ambush. Rogue elements, intent on destroying the evidence and derailing the expedition, had tracked them to Myrak. A fierce battle ensued, with Jonathan and Liora leading the defense while Zira and Vesha protected the artifact. In the chaos, it was Liora's strategic mind and Jonathan's leadership that turned the tide. Their coordinated efforts, along with the courage of the research team, repelled the attackers. Despite the danger, they secured the artifact, ensuring it would reach the public and change the narrative once and for all. Returning to the Unity, bruised but victorious, Jonathan and his wives knew that their mission had taken on a greater urgency. They were no longer just uncovering history. They were defending the very idea of unity against forces that sought to divide. With the artifact in their possession, they set course for home, ready to share the truth with the world. The journey had tested their limits, but it had also strengthened their bond. Together, they had faced the unknown, protected each other, and uncovered a legacy that could unite their worlds for generations to come. As the stars stretched out before them, Jonathan, Liora, Zira, and Vesha knew that their greatest challenges, and their greatest triumphs, were still ahead. But whatever lay in their path, they would face it together, as a family forged by fate, bound by love, and driven by the shared dream of a peaceful future. The journey back to Earth was filled with a quiet sense of anticipation. The artifact they carried was more than a relic. It was the key to understanding a shared history that had been lost to time. Jonathan, Liora, Zira, and Vesha knew that what awaited them was both an opportunity and a challenge. They had to present the truth to a world that wasn't entirely ready for it, one divided by factions and fears. Upon their arrival, the artifact was taken to a secure facility where scientists and historians from both Earth and Zorathia worked together to unlock its secrets. The crystalline device, when activated, projected images and data that chronicled the ancient alliance. It showed two civilizations, one from Earth and one from Zorathia, working in harmony to build a future among the stars. The records detailed their cooperation, their shared triumphs, and eventually, the misunderstanding and conflict that led to their separation. It was a story of unity, loss, and the potential for renewal. It was irrefutable evidence that their worlds were not meant to be enemies but partners. Jonathan and his wives stood before the gathered leaders of both planets, presenting their findings with the weight of undeniable proof. The room was silent as the images from the artifact played, revealing the long-forgotten past. When the last image faded, Jonathan stepped forward, his voice calm but resolute. "This," he said, gesturing to the artifact, "is who we were meant to be. Not divided by war, but united by purpose. This is our history, and it can be our future." The room erupted in discussions, debates, and eventually, applause. The artifact's revelations spread quickly, reaching every corner of both planets. The news inspired hope and renewed calls for unity. People began to see their shared history as a foundation for building a stronger alliance, one that could overcome the challenges of the present. However, not everyone was convinced. The rogue factions saw the evidence as a threat to their power, and their resistance intensified. They launched attacks and spread propaganda, trying to sow doubt and fear. But the tide had turned. The majority of both populations, inspired by the revelations, stood firmly behind the alliance. In response to the increasing threat, Jonathan, Liora, Zira, and Vesha took a more active role in fostering peace. They traveled across Earth and Zorathia, speaking to communities, rallying support, and demonstrating the strength of their partnership. They became symbols of hope, showing that differences could be a source of strength rather than division. The final confrontation came when a rogue faction attempted to sabotage a major Earth-Zorathian summit. Their plan was to incite chaos, to force the two planets back into conflict. But this time, the alliance was ready. Jonathan, Liora, Zira, and Vesha led a coordinated effort to thwart the attack, their unity and preparation preventing what could have been a devastating blow. The swift and decisive response, coupled with the overwhelming support of the people, crushed the last remnants of organized resistance. The rogue factions dissolved, their influence broken by the sheer will of a united populace. With peace secured, Jonathan and his wives could finally breathe. They had faced war, conspiracies, and deep-rooted divisions, but through it all, they had emerged stronger together. Their journey, one that had begun with reluctant duty, had blossomed into a profound love and partnership that defied the odds. In the years that followed, Earth and Zorathia flourished as allies. Joint initiatives in science, exploration, and culture led to unprecedented advancements. The alliance became a beacon of hope for other civilizations, demonstrating that peace and cooperation were possible even in the face of great adversity. Jonathan, Liora, Zira, and Vesha continued to lead, their lives forever intertwined with the fate of their worlds. They watched as their legacy grew, as new generations embraced the ideals they had fought for. The ancient alliance was no longer just a relic of the past, it was the foundation of a thriving future. And as they stood together, gazing at the stars from the garden of their home, Jonathan knew that the journey was far from over. There would always be challenges, but with Liora's strength, Zira's compassion, and Vesha's brilliance, they would face them as they always had, together. Their story, one of love, courage, and unity, had become legend. And as the stars shone down upon them, they knew that the legacy they had built would endure, guiding Earth and Zorathia toward a brighter, united destiny.